Howdy, my name is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to look at one of my favorite games, Marvel Champions. If you saw my top 100 games of all time, Marvel Champions rated very highly. I go recommend you check out that video. It was a blast to make. Now here I'm just going to gush about a game I love and about all the cool different heroes. Now, there's only one hero I really don't like, so a lot of this is just going to be gushing about the good stuff. So I'm going to try to present just one thing I really enjoy about the hero. Now, what does the best hero in this mean? It means heroes that I have a lot of fun playing with and that I think are super thematic and just a blast to play. So cool mechanics and just captures the hero. Feel like I'm a superhero. Super awesome. So without further ado, let's get started. So at the bottom of the list is the hero that I don't really like playing, and this is Bruce Banner. Now, Bruce Banner is really cool. He has these super strong cards. They're all 3 costs, mostly. They're really powerful ones, and he's super strong. 3 strength, 18 health, ridiculous, so super cool. However, he only has 2 of these limitless strength cards, and with a hand size of 4, he's not going to be playing a lot of those cards every turn. So maybe you're going to get to do 1 or 2 things on your turn, and I find it super limiting, unfortunately. But I do like the thematic appropriateness, but I think they could have done much better with the Hulk hero, unfortunately. So that's Bruce Banner and Hulk at the bottom of the list. Up next, we have Black Panther. So Black Panther is really cool. I like that he's rich, and I like the idea of the Wakanda Forever mechanic. I think that having all these different upgrades with different abilities is really cool, but I do think some heroes do it a little bit better, and you can use the pieces only when you have the Wakanda Forever cards. So not the best there, but I do like T'Challa. I love the challenge of trying to play these cards out early, the upgrades, and biding your time to get a really powerful Wakanda Forever out. Up next, we have SpiderMan. Now, SpiderMan does everything really well. He's great for new players, and I really like the different abilities that he has, whether it comes to resources, taking out threats. He could pretty much do it all. My favorite card in here is actually Aunt May. It's incredible healing, and I just really rounds out this package as Spider-Man just being super good at everything. So that's why he's not my absolute favorite, because he is just good at everything, but nothing crazy special about him. But he's a great character nonetheless. So this is Spider-Man. Up next, you got Jessica Drew, so SpiderWoman. So she has this really cool aspect where you're going to be creating 2 decks at the same time. And not 2 decks at the same time, but 2 different aspects, and you'll be combining them into one. This opens up some really cool and unique crafting of your deck and new combinations that won't really exist outside her deck. So I think that's really cool. I really like the way that she increases her strength, the more different colors you're playing, and I really like some of her cards. I think Inconspicuous is great, and Pheromones is really cool to just kind of stun the enemy for a whole round. I think that's awesome. So that's Jessica Drew. That's Spider-Woman. Up next, we've got Jennifer Walters. So Jennifer Walters is really cool. She has 2 modes. She has her alter ego where she's the lawyer, she's dealing with all the thwarting, and then she's got her super aggressive hero mode. I really like what they did here. They really kind of up the 2 personas. I think this is a great way to do a Hulk character. Unlike the regular Hulk, you have a character that can do things in both modes and has cards geared for both of those modes. So I really like that in Jennifer Walters' deck. I think she's a great character. Fantastic. Up next, we have Steve Rogers. Now, Steve Rogers is a leader, born leader, right? He's going to be able to bring in allies that he needs. He's got his patented shield here, and when you play Steve, you can do anything. The shield toss is great. I love being able to use the shield for different things. That's super fun, and I like just leading out your full charge of allies. So Steve Rogers is super powerful. He's another one of those characters that just can do pretty much everything, especially if you're running leadership. But obviously you want to, because Steve is really good with allies, so you got to kind of pick and choose what kind of challenge you want when you're playing with Steve. Captain America's great. Up next, we've got the Rise of Red Skull, the second hero in there. We've got Hawkeye, and Hawkeye is really cool. He has these arrows that he's going to be using, and that's the majority of his deck, is vibranium, cable, electric, explosive, sonic, and you get to use maybe up to 2 of these arrows a turn to do something really neat and really unique, and I find that super fun. I like that you're kind of limited and you have to pick and choose, and my favorite card in this whole thing is his quiver. You're allowed to put a bunch of cards under it every round, and whenever you're using an arrow, you can use it from the quiver as if it was in your hand. I love mechanics like that, where you have all these extra piles of resources. So Hawkeye is really fun. Up next, we have Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange is Another one of those super strong characters, very similar to Captain America, and wow, he's just crazy. My favorite part of him is his invocation deck, and that's kind of what makes him super, super strong. Every round, you'll have this small deck on the side that you can exhaust Strange and use one of the powers, and it could be drawing cards, manipulating status conditions, fighting incredibly well, thwarting incredibly well. He can really do it all, and he feels just incredibly powerful. And I find that it's empowering, that's for sure. You feel a little too strong in my opinion, but I really like the magical theme that he has going on here, and I am just pretty thrilled when I get to play him. So super strong character. Up next is Natasha Romanoff. This is Scarlet Witch. Oh, sorry, not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow. I have not received Scarlet Witch Pack yet, so she will not be on this list, but very excited to play her. That's the only one I'm missing from this Avengers cycle, as it were. But Black Widow is super, super, super fun. You get to do preparations, and I find that really, really exciting as you're able to plan for the enemy attack. You can stop their attacks dead in their tracks. You can get rid of the treachery cards. It's all reactive, which is really cool to me. You're kind of setting up for this turn. And her synth suit here is my favorite card in the deck because it allows you to strategically defend with Black Widow in anticipation of activating your preparation cards. And I think that's really cool because a lot of characters, you kind of just want to tank the damage sometimes. You don't really want to be doing a lot of defending, but Black Widow can really benefit from that because she can ready herself. And I think that's really cool. You get to use her a lot, and I think that's really fun. It's cool to be Black Widow. Now, she does come with some really cool neutral preparations as well, and I really like the target acquired one. It lets you get rid of some of those nasty boost icons. And it comes with a lot of really cool preparations for other heroes. You get to put in a little bit of that. She's also really interesting in that her nemesis is a villain as well. So I think it's really cool that you can have this villain, and when it activates in the game, he's just up to more bad. So I was going to say up to no good, but yeah, he's up to even more no good. It's pretty great. So I really like Black Widow. I think they did a great job with her character, and it's fun being able to plan what the villain's going to do. All right, so this is number 7. This is Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel is another one of those characters who is super strong, but I really like that her deck revolves around a specific resource type. It's all about the electric resource or the power resource. And she has some cards that Hulk has, the triple of a resource, except you can do a lot of cool stuff with hers. You can use it to power these photon blasts to draw extra cards. You can use it to, she has this incredible card, the Energy Channel. This is a way to bank your extra resources and deal a huge amount of damage afterwards, so super strong there. And I like that she can really do whatever she likes. And in conjunction with the Hulk ally, I find it a lot of fun, almost guaranteeing the ability to always trigger one of Hulk's additional abilities. They either deal 1 damage to everything or deal 2 damage to something else. So I find Captain Marvel a joy to play, super fun, and one of her coolest things is her ally effect. She can actually let other players draw cards, so you can kind of share the love. SpiderWoman in here is also great, great ally, great character. I really like Captain Marvel. She can do a lot, and she's fun to play. You feel like, yeah, if you've seen the movie or if you read any of the comics, you feel like a cosmic being that can go off and take out things. So a lot of fun here. Up next, we have Quicksilver. Quicksilver is really fun. His whole thing is he is always running. Kind of like Black Panther, he's got his signature card that he's got a lot of in his deck. But this one is very simple. He just gets to ready himself. But all of his cards that he uses have to deal with increasing his stats for the turn. So when you are readying yourself, you're getting to use those stats over and over again, and you're very versatile. You could do a lot. And there's a lot of fun play here with his bonus cards. So you can get permanent cards for extra attack, defense, or thwarting. He can actually defend. Most characters, they kind of want to be not defending with themselves, so they can be proactive on their turn. But he loves being able to use his own basic actions every round. And my favorite card in this deck is this one here, Friction Resistance. Every time Quicksilver is readied, you get to re-ready this card, and it's a resource. So you get to do a lot on your turns, and I find that super fun. One of the best parts of this game is being able to play cards and being able to be your hero, and you get to do that a lot with Quicksilver. So you dash around and kind of do whatever needs to get done. A lot of fun, Quicksilver. All right, my 5th favorite hero is Tony Stark. Now, Tony Stark is awesome. He's got, his whole theme is he's building his suit. And I think that's really fascinating. You kind of catch him in his alter ego form, and he's got to stall a little bit to pick up his belongings. And every time you get a piece, his arc reactor, his helmet, his armor, you get to increase your hand size as well. So it's really cool. You can take some time and stay in your alter ego mode and build up your suit, or you can jump straight into the fray. And my favorite part of this is you have a lot of choices when it comes to this. A lot of the pieces are very cheap. And they actually have effects that you can use as soon as you play them. So in contrast to Black Panther earlier, Black Panther, you have to wait until you get that Wakanda Forever card to activate those pieces that you've been playing. But with Iron Man, as soon as you slap on the glove, you can half suit on and blast somebody. And I think it's a lot of fun. It feels like Iron Man. You feel awesome. You can do a bunch of little things on your turn, which is really satisfying. You're doing piece by piece, and the order matters. And it's a lot of fun playing Iron Man. I love this character. My fourth favorite is Kamala Khan. This is Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is the weakest hero. She's got 1 on everything, but her ability is really fascinating. You get to recall events from your deck. Now, a lot of this time, you can just use it to get resources back, so you can play more stuff on your turn, but you can also use it to get specific events that you've been using. So if you need to do a lot of damage in the turn, if you need to do a lot of defending, you have a lot of cool stuff. So this reminds me a lot of SpiderMan, but there's a lot more flavor here and a lot more reason to be in hero and alter ego mode. I love that her deck is all about finding what you need and having the right tools for the occasion. My favorite thing about her are her cast of characters in her alter ego form. Her dad's here, she's got her best friends, and you can use them in order to store cards, save cards, or get additional resources for actions. And I think that's a lot of fun, being able to kind of manipulate your deck and being able to really prepare for some really cool, powerful turns. I like that her passive cards are just always increasing your abilities, and you can pick and choose when it's a good time to play those. And I just think she's a really fun hero to play. So Miss Marvel, I love flipping back and forth. Great hero. So number 3 is Nadia Van Dyne, or Wasp. A Wasp is so cool. She's so interesting. She has 3 sides. She has one of the folding cards. So it's this big card. You've got this regular side here, and then you flip to the small side over there, and then you can flip to the large side. And I think that's super cool. I think that's one of my favorite parts about her in general, is that she does have 3 forms for you to manage, and her cards relate to those forms as well. Similarly, how I like Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. She does this in a much better fashion, in my opinion. Your position can alter your cards, and I think that's really cool. You can always use them, which is fun, and you're based on who you are, which size you are, they get to do different things, and I think it's really cool to play around. And one of her really interesting things, she has some super powerful attacks, but they're pretty expensive, and you have to be in the right form, so it's all about timing and prediction. And I love my favorite card in this deck is her Pim Particles card. I love this, and this is actually in the Ant-Man Hero Pack as well, and I just think that's really cool to have resource cards that do additional things as opposed to just providing more resources. So I really like her abilities. I like that she has Ant-Man in here, and I really like that her big hero power allows you to divide your abilities, or your thwart or your attack. I think that's super cool, being able to kind of pick and choose where it all goes. So I really like Wasp. They did a great job with her. Now next, number 2 here is Ant-Man. Ant-Man is very similar to Wasp. He also has the giant card, and he is very similar to Wasp. Wasp is a lot more aggressive in her playstyle, and Ant-Man is a lot more freeform. And I think that's why I like Ant-Man a little bit more. He kind of lets you do what you want as Ant-Man, but he has his strengths in different ways. His small side is good in thwarting, his large side is good at attacking. He has great ways to resize and change, and I think that's why I like him, is because you're able to shift more and more and more during your turns. And I think that's just a really fun concept, the resizing. He also has those Pim Particles, which I find a lot of fun. One of my favorite cards in his deck is the Wrist Gauntlets, and I think this is just a great card in general. Based on the form you're in, you can use it to stun or confuse, which is cool. You can really pick and choose how you play this game. And his Nemesis is also a lot of fun. I find Yellow Jacket hilarious to play against, and he has this very specific side scheme that he puts out where all your tech becomes useless. And I think that's really cool. You have to decide, is it worth dealing with that nuisance of a problem. It doesn't affect anything else in the game, but it does affect a lot of your cool abilities. So I like that choice it presents. So I really enjoy the AntMan pack in general. It has some of my favorite cards, I think, are in this pack, including the basics and the upgrade cards, and they did a great job with this pack. Now, it introduced my favorite card in the game, Team Building Exercise, and you'll see that in a second. This made my number one. And you'll see. So Team Building Exercise, let's just read this card. You get to play a card from your hand, and if it shares a trait with your hero, you reduce its cost by 1. Now for AntMan, what that means is you can play a giant card if you're in giant form for 1 less. Pretty straightforward. But for number 1, it allows you to play basically all of his cards for 1 less. And that's Thor. So when I first played Thor, I didn't really like him that much. He had some of the same problems that Bruce Banner had, where your hand was just not very big. You're not really able to do anything, not really able to set up anything. He had a lot of limiting factors that other heroes like Captain America just it did not feel very satisfying to play Thor. But the more I played Thor and the more cards that have come out into the card pool, the more fun and satisfying it is to play Thor. And the more I see what they did with the pack, and the more I really appreciate and enjoy everything about this character. So Thor, he's very much like Captain America, where you can grab his weapon of choice. So he brings Mjolnir with him. And then once you go into Thor mode, you're probably going to stay in Thor mode for a long time. Every time a minion comes out, you get to draw 2 cards, once per phase, and that happens a lot. It happens during the enemy phase, generally, because the game is trying to kill you, so generally they're going to have minions that you're going to be able to take out. But you can trigger minions to show up with the Defender of the Nine Realms cards. This has a great way to deal with thwarting, and the way they do it is you just get to remove 3 thwart from something and then bring out a minion and take it out. And I think that's super cool. You're challenging the deck, and I think that's such a great idea on how they did it for Thor. You get to draw extra cards, you get to do some thwarting, and then you get to focus on the fighting, and I think that's a lot of fun. And a lot of Thor's cards are Asgard cards, and there's a lot of neutral cards that are Asgard cards. So you can use that card that we were talking about, the one from the AntMan pack, let me find it again, the Team Building Exercise, to play his Asgard cards at a lower cost. And I think that's super cool because you're going to be playing Asgard cards. You've got Asgard itself. You've got God of Thunder. You've got his Mjolnir itself. Every turn, if you're returning Mjolnir to your hand, you get to hammer throw it. You throw the hammer, it comes back into your hand, and then you can bring it back out for free with the Team Building Exercise. And I think that's just so fun. It allows you to be Thor in a more relaxed manner. And I find that super satisfying, super fun. His lightning strike effect is super cool. You get to do a whole sweep, and it's lightning, so it goes through that tough armor. You can get a bigger hand size with Asgard. You've got some great allies in here with Valkyrie and with Lady Sif, and I just find it a joy to play. He also has some really fun cards in Hall of Heroes. You get to draw extra cards. You've got Yarnbjorn, which is just a super cool weapon. Heimdall is a lot of fun to look at what's coming up. And it introduced some of the best cards, I think, in general. I think Under Surveillance is great. It puts a lot of pressure off of you, especially if you're playing a solo game. And I think that his Nemesis cards are great. I love that they base themselves also on Asgard cards. So the scheme itself, it gets an additional that for each Asgard card. So if you're playing a lot of your buddies, it's going to be a problem. And Loki is a constant nuisance, and I think it's perfect. I think these two pair super well together, and I really enjoy the hero pack as a whole. My favorite hero, for sure, in this game so far, and I'm really excited just to see what comes up next. They've recently announced a Gamora pack, so they're doing the whole Guardian cycle right now. So after we get Scarlet Witch, we'll get Rocket and Groot, and then Star-Lord looks great with his manipulation and counterdeck. I am so pleased with this whole game design and whole system. I can't wait for more. What do you think? How did I rate them? How do you rate them? What are your favorites to play? Which ones do you not like to play? What are your favorite cards? I'd love to know. Anything you'd like to play? Any look fun to you? I love the artwork. I love everything about this. So awesome game. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Side Game Strong.